Recording in progress.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, guys, you hear me?
Okay, guys, you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
You hear me?
I hear you.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Yes.
You hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, guys. Yes. You hear me?
I hear you.
Yes. You hear me?
Cardwell, try to put it on mute,
Yeah.
Cardwell.
Try to put it on mute. Try to put it on mute.
Hector, you gotta unmute.
All right. Sorry, guys. You got it now? You hear me?
Yeah.
So without further delay, I'm going to start the show. Want to thank everyone for attending this webinar. I think we have a nice panel of 5 different real estate professionals that I think is going to be educational, and I'm really excited to start it. So my name is Hector Perez. I'm a Better Homes and Gardens agent, licensed in New Jersey, licensed in Pennsylvania. I also speak Spanish. I'm building a lot of social media content in Spanish. If you're interested, check it out at Better Homes with Hector Perez. Okay. So I want to talk about first-time home sellers and the motivation that we're going to have to sell our home. It's, for me right now, the number one reason to sell your home is the appreciation. In the last 5 years in New Jersey, the average appreciation has been about 42%. So let's say that you bought your home at $200,000. You could now sell your home 5 years later at $280,000. So I think that's a really big number, and that could be a reason as a seller motivated to sell your house right now. One thing that I think is important as we're getting ready to sell our home would be a pre-listing home inspection. So I think if you've had a home 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you might not know every single hidden defect with your property. So I think I would always suggest if you haven't, if you had the home for over 10 years, I think it's a good idea to get a pre-listing inspection so you can have an understanding of any current conditions with your property. Also, definitely would suggest, as we're getting ready to list our home, to speak with the township and get that certificate of occupancy documents, any guidelines that your particular township has. They might have a checklist. With Camden, the city in particular, it's really detailed. It's a zoning application, then followed by the certificate of occupancy with 4 different inspectors. So if you're in a township that's going to have a lot of checklists and a lot of guidelines and a lot of certifications, I think it's really critical to jump on it quickly. It could possibly take months as you finish with all those requests that the township is going to have. Another thing that's critical, most agents are doing it, CMA, comparative market analysis. Some people call it a home valuation. Let me tell you what your home is worth. It's a CMA. So we're going to look at, maybe 5 to 10 properties that have sold in that area, maybe in the last 3 to 4 months, 2-mile radius, similar square footage, similar bed, similar bath. So we can get a range of that, of your house. But it's not finished there. We need to go to the property. Like, this isn't going to be Zillow and that whole Z estimate thing where, Zillow tells you a number and, they're God. They're not going to be the ones who are going to be in your property to check all your current conditions, upgrades, or maybe the lack of upgrades. So I think it's critical to visit the property, and then from there we can better gauge and better give you some information on what we can price your home at. When we come to a conclusion, a meeting of the minds, and we're like, yeah, this is what we're going to list it at, I definitely don't suggest, listing it to the ceiling. Definitely don't suggest listing it to the floor. I think it needs to be just right. If it's just right, it's going to have no problems with appraisal, and it's also going to bring more offers to the table. If it's at that little middle zone that I would always suggest, I think that would be helpful. So all throughout the deal, as we're going through negotiations and we're actively listing the property on the market, we're going to communicate, we're going to negotiate on your behalf. We're going to be like that middleman for the sellers, between the buyer's agent and any other parties that are going to be involved. We're going to, like I just said, we're going to be like that middle buffer zone. So we need to find out as sellers what's going to be that best option for you, whether it's a quick closing and you're ready to move, whether it's a longer closing and you're going to need more time to get everything together and find that future home. Maybe it's a big deposit and you're going to need some security in that deal. And as we're listing and as we've received offers, we possibly might have accepted an offer. I think right in between all of that, we're going to be looking to buy that right home with that right loan and that right lender. So I think that's that next step for us, reaching out to a lender. But today, I'm going to send you over to Angelo. He's also a broker with HomeSmart, and he's also an inspector. So please take it over, Angelo, and I will mute myself. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Hector. Appreciate it. My name is Angelo Tasiopoulos. I am the owner of Platinum Home Inspections. And as Hector said, I'm also a broker owner of HomeSmart First Advantage Realty as well. Most people, when they talk about home inspections, it's always the buyer getting the home inspection, which is always the case. We always consider as home inspectors for sellers to also consider getting a home inspection as well prior to listing the property. And the reason why we do this is because when a seller gets a pre-listing home inspection, they're going to be aware of all the defects that would come up during the home inspection of the buyer. So it's kind of like one of those things where you kind of want to nip it in the butt and be aware of what's wrong with the property, what issues it may have. That way you can go ahead and correct these issues. So then when the buyer decides to get their own home inspection, and they will, you're not going to have a home inspection report that's going to be so detailed and so many defects because you had already taken care of them, which will kind of give you that kind of like a leg up on all the negotiations. Also, when a buyer does get this home inspection, the seller is going to be required to get a licensed contractor to go out there and make these repairs most of the time, usually. If you're the seller in advance and you know what defects you can do this as well. Or if you're handy, you can handle these repairs yourself in advance, which could save you a great deal of money in the long run as well. So that's one advantage of getting a home inspection done before you list your property, because you may not be aware of a lot of the defects that will come up. We're definitely not code enforcers. We're definitely looking out for safety issues. It does not mean that we don't call out code items. It's just that we don't enforce them because the code here changes each and every day and every year. So, but we can, as home inspectors, point out what will definitely be coming up in a home inspection report when the buyer makes an offer on your property. So always consider it, not a bad idea to get it. And we also, we do have other services as well that would also help your sale. Like you could also get a termite treatment certificate, radon test, mold testing, and sewer scope as well. These are all services that Platinum Home Inspections offers, which kind of makes like a one-stop shop for all your inspection needs. So like I said, if you're interested in getting your house on the market and you want to know 90% of the defects your property may have, you should always consider getting a home inspection. That way you'll get a report, you'll get a list of all these defects, and you can go right down the list and repair what needs to be repaired and maybe not address what doesn't need to be addressed. That way, when the buyer goes and makes an offer on your property, goes under contract, and you know they're going to get a home inspection done, most of those repairs have already been completed because you are 100% aware of those defects. So when you get presented by a home inspection by the buyer's agent, it should be very minimal, which then makes your agent as a listing agent a lot easier to negotiate the price or the credit or the repair. So yeah, so definitely consider, getting a home inspection prior to listing it. It's called a pre-listing inspection. For all your inspection needs, you can visit my website at www.platinumhomeinspections.net and the phone number 856-617-7113. Thank you.
Okay. Angelo, thanks a lot for showing up, man. I greatly appreciate it. You came in clutch like a stick shift.
Thank you for having me. I'm here for you guys.
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Kurt, I want to send it your way to talk about, the right loan options that you guys might have over there at Green Tree. Go ahead.
Certainly. Hey, this is Kurt Reger with Green Tree Mortgage Company. I'm on the True Mortgage Advisors team, Team Mitchell Friedman. I'm a loan officer on the Mitch Friedman team, and we specialize in treating our clients like their family. Like, our goal is to, treat them like family so they keep coming back and they send their family to us. If we feel like they're going to get a better deal somewhere else, we're going to tell them go somewhere else and get that better deal. So, we're about providing great customer service and, fast, smooth closings. So I think the first step, with the loan is to get pre-approved. When you get pre-approved, then you're going to know what your purchasing power is. If we can get you pre-approved, that pre-approval lasts for about 3-4 months. That credit pull lasts for 3-4 months. But if we can't get you pre-approved right now, then we will go over the credit report with you. We will offer suggestions on how to get that score up in a short time frame. And we're not credit repair specialists, but we've done this for a long time. We look at credit reports all day long, and we know, what will have a great impact on the score. So we like to help our clients prepare. If they're not ready right now, we want to get them in the best financial condition so they can get pre-approved for a mortgage, 3, 6, 9 months down the line, no matter, it depends on what the credit score looks like, what the credit report looks like at this time. Of course, the goal is to get them pre-approved right away, and then turn it over to the realtor, help you find a home. But we're there for you the whole, every step of the way. We offer a number of different types of loan programs, traditional programs like conventional, FHA, USDA, VA. We also offer non-qualifying mortgages, non-QM loans. These are loans if you had a recent credit event like a bankruptcy, or you want to do a bank statement loan, something like that. An ITIN loan, you don't have a social security number, you've got an ITIN number. These programs typically take about 20 to 25% down payment, but we do offer those programs. And we offer the popular FHA 203K loan. It is a renovation loan meant for primary residence. You're going to live in that house, you need a little bit of extra money to fix it up before you move in. We've got that loan, we can help you with it. And then we specialize in first-time home buyers. We're a top team in Jersey that closes the New Jersey Mortgage Finance Agency first-time home buyer loan. It gives you up to $22,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance. It doesn't have to be repaid as long as you live in that house for 5 years. So that's something that we could always help you with. But let's shatter some fears and doubts. I think the biggest one that we hear in the lending industry, the mortgage industry, are the rates. We know that back in the 80s, the rates were 18%. My dad tells me all the time. Back in 2010, the rates were around 10%. When COVID hit, the rates got into the 3s and then the 2s, but they're not there any longer. They've climbed. They're back in the 7 to 8% range, but it's still a good time to buy. Why, you might ask, if the rates are a little bit on the high side right now? Because, when the rates drop down even lower, then more buyers are going to jump into the market. That's going to create more competition when you're bidding on homes. And You know, they're saying that there's a shortage of inventory right now, not a lot of homes to bid on right now. So imagine when the rates drop down and you have many more people getting into it, you know, then you might have to bid higher on a home. You might have to make more bids on different homes until you get your offer accepted. So now's a good time to buy. You know, if you lock in now at a 7% rate and then rates jump up to 9% next year, you're going to be happy that you locked in at a 7% rate. If you lock in at a 7% rate right now and rates drop down to the 6, 5, 4% range next year, the year before, we're going to reach out to you. We're going to say, hey, the rates dropped down. Let's refinance you. When you refinance, there are fees, but they're not as great as when you buy a home, and you can roll those fees into the loan. So, we'll look to refinance our clients. I know it's cliche, but, we say marry the home, date the rate. The interest rate is not permanent. You could refinance that rate in the future if you want to. So I'm on a lending team that you could reach out to day or night. I literally talk to clients sometimes at 11 o'clock at night if they need to. I'm kind of always working. You can reach out anytime. We attend our closings. We make it as easy as possible for our clients. We know they're going to have a lot of questions, and we're here for that. We're licensed in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Florida. And then feel free to use me as a resource. Even if you're not going to do your loan with us, you can always call me and run mortgage questions by me. I don't mind. Again, my goal is to provide great service. So you send your friends or your family our way. My name's Kurt Reger with Green Tree Mortgage. You can reach me on my cell phone anytime, 856-628-6647.
Thanks a lot, Kurt. Fellow panels, don't worry about your contact information. We will, on the webinar, once it's recorded, I will send an outgoing email with every single member's email. I'll even put your Instagram on there. So have no fear, guys. Let's just provide 6-7 minutes of content, useful information, and we'll move on to the next. Elias, title representative with SJS Title. You're next up. Batter up.
Thank you, Hector. Pleasure being here with everybody. I'm glad to speak a little bit about the challenges that people might have come across when entering this industry of trying to buy houses and kind of help themselves out for the future. So I'm Elias with SJS Title. Our offices are based out of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. We're in Haddonfield, Cherry Hill, Medford, and Fishtown. So a lot of people come up to the table not really knowing what title is. Title is one of those things that a lot of people don't really know about until it comes time that they need it. So I'm usually the last person that is seen at the table. I'm the one that you do all the signing with, going through the documents and numbers one last time, making sure that you are ready to commit yourself to the numbers in front of you and get yourself to home. So we do anything from first-time home buyers in residential to anything as far as big-time commercial deals. We do it all. We make it seamless and easy for you guys. But again, a lot of people get nervous when coming to the table. And our goal here today is to make sure that when people come to the table to sign and officially make their home a home, they're comfortable. They understand what they're going through and they're happy with what they are committing themselves to. So at the end of the day, title is basically an insurance. We make sure that your biggest asset and biggest investment in life is protected. You are buying a house that someone else has once lived in before, and houses are something that can take on liens, judgments, and liabilities on it. So when a person buys a house, it's an asset to them. So we want to make sure that that asset's protected and that there isn't anything that potentially could go against you that you could lose it. So our goal is we make sure that we look into you, we make sure we look into the seller, and we make sure that there isn't anything on the property that is supposed to be paid for that isn't. We clear the utilities, we clear the taxes, we clear the mortgage payoffs, and we clear judgments if they're pertaining. When you're buying a house, you want to make sure you're only responsible for things that you're responsible for. So at the end of the day, if it's your first time buying a house or your last time buying a house, you need title insurance because you want to make sure that you're protected and that you're not dealing with anybody else's responsibilities. We're the ones that take your deed and mortgage and make it official. We record it with the county and make sure that you get those originals back. One thing that a lot of title companies are seeing right now is some scams. based upon deed theft and things like that. So if you ever get any information after you close saying that you need to give more information or send any information or pay something that's not your payment, reach out to one of us in the panel, because at the end of the day, we've been it, we've seen it, and we're always here to help you. We don't go away after closing. We are with you for the whole process. But at the end of it, you'll see me is probably one of the better days, because you're signing your package, you're reviewing your numbers, making sure that what, like Kurt said, everything that you got with them is the same. You're ready to that personal and that home yours forever. So it's just an insurance responsible for the things you're supposed to be responsible for. That's pretty much everything that covers but we're good.
Sounds great, Elias. Thanks a lot for all that useful information. Gonna send it over to Cardwell with appraisal, tight and right real estate valuation. Hopefully I got that right.
Yes, you did. And if it's tight, it's right. I think we can all agree on that. Yes, Cardwell Faxton, real estate appraiser. I am a licensed New Jersey real estate appraiser. I've been an appraiser now for a little bit more than 20 years. And I cover most of New Jersey. What is an appraiser? Or what does an appraiser do? Well, I'm usually hired by a consumer or a lender to objectively look at and analyze the real estate market around a particular property and determine what a person seems to be willing to pay for that property and a person seems to be willing to accept for that property. The lender or the consumer wants me to be unbiased, independent, and totally objective. I bring nothing to the game. Most of the time, the lender wants to be sure that the buyer or the person paying for that appraisal has no relationship with me at all. That way, I'm totally unbiased and totally objective when I look at the property. Now, I do work for others besides mortgage lenders. Like when I say that, I'm talking banks, mortgage companies. Attorneys hire me because you may have a death in the family and people want to determine, well, how much Okay. I lost you. Am I back? I lost you for a second. Okay. All right. So how do I determine value? Basically, I look at recent sales. And when I say recent, at sales as close to now, as close to today as possible, within a tight radius around that property, hopefully in the same community, all right, the same area. I try not to go more than a mile away from the property, especially in the urban area, or maybe 3 miles in a suburban area. And then, of course, however far I have to go in a rural area. Can you still hear me? Are you guys? Okay. Okay. All right. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. I study the market, I analyze the market, and then I give my opinion on what a reasonable person is willing to pay and a reasonable person seems to be willing to accept for that property. That's it. That's in a nutshell. I work for attorneys, accountants, consumers, and lenders. And by lenders, I mean mortgage companies or banks. Thank you for your time. And I apologize for the ambiance here. I know it's a little dark, but you know, it's got to be mellow. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Cardwell. Thanks a lot for that
Sure.
information appraisal. Nelson, we're going to send it your way. And then after that, I'll close. And if anyone has anything additional to say, as we're getting ready to sell and then buy again, they're free to, to fill in. Go ahead, Nelson with Northwestern Mutual.
Yes, thank you, Hector, for inviting me to be part of this. As you said, my name is Nelson D. Rodriguez, and I work at Northwestern Mutual, which is a financial advisory company. I've been with the company for quite some time now. Um, to pretty much being at the end of this discussion here, having me as the last person, I think I can sum up that what's very important is as you're purchasing a house, I think with part of building a house, it always starts at the foundation. You got to make sure you have a strong foundation, and then from there, you have all the people who spoke before me that will help you, that will assist you to make sure that that purchase of that future home that you have goes smoothly. Now, with where do I fall in? Well, in order for you to purchase the home, you have to make sure that you have a strong financial foundation. So pretty much is what I do here at Northwestern Mutual. It's very simple. I try to take you through 4 steps. It's understanding your cash flow, understanding what was coming in, with your job, your current state, how much you're making. Understand that you have to have control over your cash. I like to tell people that it's important that you know where your money's going. Because if you don't know where your money's going, you're going to find yourself looking to see where it went. So we start off with understanding your cash flow. Then the next step is protect your income and your family and assets. All that falls under what you currently have, your homes and all. And then it follows through with, developing a savings and investment plan. And then finally creating a strategy to manage your debt. With me, and being part of this, I think that speaking with me and maybe having a meeting with me, my focus is going to be to make sure that not only you'll be in a great position to purchase a house, a home, or an investment property, but most importantly, be able to maintain it. Because we don't want you to purchase something and then in a few months you're going to have to, figure out how to sell the house because you can't afford it, or you might lose your property. It's important that you position yourself in a place where you can maintain what you purchase, and it's going to be a beneficial not only for you but also for your family if you have a family, or for whatever your future plans are. So my job is to make sure that I help you, guide you with suggestions and recommendations in building a strong financial foundation. If you have a strong financial foundation, then I think when you tap into the real estate market, you'll be able not only to purchase maybe just one home, but purchase multiple homes and have investment property. So that's where I fall in. As Hector said, he'll give my information, but just in case, I'll just say it out right now. My phone number is 609-201-3182. My email is nelson.rodriguez, RODRIGUEZ @nm.com. And I am currently licensed in the state of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Florida, Connecticut, North Carolina. But if you are not in those areas, don't worry, you can contact me. I'll make sure to do my part and become licensed in the state where you're currently at, so I can be of a resource and assistance to you. Once again, thank you, Hector, for this opportunity.
Thanks a lot, Nelson. So, yeah, I really appreciate all panel members giving their real estate professional advice. Just want to add on just one more thing. So what I was talking about to begin with. So I think it's crucial as we're selling a home and as we're buying a home to understand. Nelson touched up on it a little bit. Our monthly budget and how we're going to allocate our funds. I don't think a lot of people really realize that. How you're going to sell your home. Let's say it's 85,000 on that net sheet on that closing date that you'll receive. You should already have some sort of plan with how you're going to use those funds. I would never suggest to anyone to use 80,000, 75,000 out of that closing check of possible 85,000 into that next down payment property. I've heard of it before. A relative of mine wanted to use all the funds from selling her property and use it towards the next one. What are you going to do with furniture? Usually when you buy a new home, you buy new furniture or a new TV. Like, what do you like? Where's all that other money going to go that you're just decided to use on that down payment. So how you're going to allocate your funds as you're selling your home, like how are you going to use it? Plan that properly, and also plan your budget for that next home. What can you afford? Is it 1,800 a month? Is it 3,000 a month? Map out all those monthly expenses that you have. Add them all up together. How much is that a month? As well as whatever you're paying on rent or whatever you're paying on that last mortgage. Factor all that in as you've made a decision on what's that next property going to be. Because you could be, house poor really quickly. Use all those funds, buy furniture, and buy a house that you can't afford. You can only afford 2,000, but you bought 2,600, and in a couple of months, you're flat broke. So I think that's something that we definitely need to understand as we're selling and then looking to buy. That's all I got, guys. If anybody's got anything additional, we've got a couple of.
Yeah, that what you just said is very important, to understand really, what you can afford. I know that with pre-approvals, the amount might be high and you might want to go look for a house or a home that is at that full amount. But would it be wise? Depending on what your bills are, what your debt are, it's very important again that you have a plan in place, a strategy in place, to again purchase the home, but not only purchase the home, maintain it. We don't want to set you up for something that's going to feel good just for a year or two, and then here comes the hardship and the stress of trying to figure out how are you going to keep this home. So it's important that you have a plan in place. Is it again? I can't stress that anymore, and I think the plan list can say the same. It's all about having something, having a game plan, and just executing it and sticking to it. If it's to better your credit, if it's to lower your debt, whatever the case may be. And that's where we all fall in, and we all work together collectively to make sure that you have something and you're able to purchase that dream home or to purchase that first investment property stress free, knowing that you have things in order, so that will help you to maintain it and also pass it on if you want to pass it on to your children or to a certain level.
Yeah, I just want to add, in regards to the mortgage and keeping things affordable, things like that, your purchasing power is determined by your debt to income ratio. So that's the amount of income that we can use to get you qualified every month versus the debts that show up on your credit report monthly plus the new mortgage payment. So your debt to income ratio, some people say, hey, what's the maximum that I can get pre-approved for? The debt to income ratio is only looking at the credit report debts. It's not counting haircuts. It's not counting groceries, not counting gasoline, things like that. It's only looking at the credit report and the new mortgage payment. So yeah, talk to a lender that's going to, steer you in the right direction. Tell them, hey, look, this is what my affordable monthly payment is. This is the most cash that I'm willing to put out of my bank account to buy the home. And they can adjust the numbers to say, okay, well, then you should be shopping for a home around this purchase price with this much in annual taxes. So, so there's some lenders out there that are quick to issue a pre-approval letter. We heard that, Rocket Mortgage is not originating loans anymore. Use a local lender. They won't steer you wrong. Those national lenders like Rocket, they don't ask that many questions whenever they pre-approve you. They don't really get documentation when they pre-approve you. They're tough to get a hold of. When you use a local lender, you could reach out to us day or night.
I think one important thing to also note is that there is no stupid question. At the end of the day, I think we're all here to answer any question, like we said, anytime as well. You're not the first person that has asked that question or have thought of it. So feel free to ask away. But in a nutshell, I think everyone's going to agree with this. Our goal is to make the house of your dreams a home of your dreams. So that's all I got to say for our aspect of it.
Thanks, guys. We're gonna close out. It's perfect 40 minutes. My bad with the beginning. I should have put everyone as a panelist. Moving forward, I'll make that adjustment. So in the next day or so, I will send everyone a recording and a closing email. So you can copy it and use it and send it to any potential customer or client. I think that was the number one goal that I had today. Not to get 30,000 participants or attendees. It was to have a recording that we can now use as educational information and pass it along to the next customer or potential client. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to close this out. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Hector.
Thank you.